What's up, y'all? I got a good one for y'all now. See, there's this story or video, I should say, of this black woman going viral all throughout Miami, Florida, and all over TikTok because she wouldn't be let in the club for being too dark and too thick, as she puts it. I got the original video right here as well as some other people's reactions. So let's get into this. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, and let's go.
I'm trying to figure out why I'm in the middle of Miami. Literally at what time?
It's 12:44.
At 12:44, we go to a club called Mona. Do you know this club told me I'm too dark and too thick? Didn't let her in because she's too thick. Dark?
Bitches have audacity.
What's really going on, Miami? All too dark to get in the club? Yeah, no. Somebody need to let me know what's going on in Miami. Seriously.
Yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with her being dark skinned, in my opinion, because that's one of those stupid colorism arguments. I personally don't believe in that. I think colorism is a crock of shit, if I'm just being real with you. And I think it had to do more with her size versus her being too dark, as she puts it. And then listen, I think clubs reserve the right to let in whoever they want and deny whoever they want. They did nothing wrong about that. And I don't know about that club owner telling her she's too dark. Maybe he or she did, whoever it is. I don't know. But as if that club that she went to is the end all be all. Like, Miami is a pretty big city, and they have there's a lot to do there. I'm sure there's more big girl, dark girl friendly spots that she could have went to, but she chose to go to that one, and now she's making a whole video about it, making an ass of herself. You know what I'm saying? But let's get into some of these other reactions.
An opinion, here's mine. I know you guys have all heard of the young lady from Miami who says that she was not allowed access into a nightclub based on the fact that she was too dark and too thick to enter the club. Now, this has gone viral all over social media with a lot of people weighing in, sharing their perspective. So here's mine. First of all, I'd like to say no disrespect to the young ladies who were in the video. The one who posted the video, and then she had, I believe, 2 or 3 other young ladies with her in the video as well. Now, when they cut to the young lady in the red, right, it's the young lady who's speaking initially. She has on sort of like a short set, maybe it's striped, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's a young lady who's a bit more fairer-skinned towards the background of the video, and she's wearing all red, right? Now, it's inarguable, in my opinion, that she's a lighter-skinned or fairer-skinned woman. But I think that people are missing the point here about nightclub culture and how nightclubs have every right to be discriminatory. When you are an owner of a nightclub or you own a nightlife establishment or facility, the goal is to make money, obviously, but it's also to support a certain aesthetic, right? Now, that could be a multitude of things, right? From high-end fashion all the way down to street food, street level, ghetto shit, to be frank and honest. You have different clubs that want a different sort of aesthetic. Now, one common thing in Miami is the aesthetic of being thin. Now, someone who is a larger person myself, I am in no place, way, shape, or form about to denigrate anybody over their size, whether they're fat, skinny, or whatever the case may be, because I would hate it if someone did that to me. But we also...
And hey, shout out to bro for keeping it at 100 about that, because not a lot of people do that, especially in the times we live in, where we have like fat acceptance and no one's allowed to call a fat person fat or anything like that. We live in wild times, but shout out to bro for keeping it 100.
Also have to be honest and not denigrate the owners of the nightclub because they were told that no, They will not be allowed to be entering the club for free. And yes, they can actually enter the club, but they have to pay because they are too thick and they don't fit the aesthetic of the nightclub. Now, why is this important? It's important because the narrative is that they weren't being allowed in at all. And that's a lie. They were being allowed in, but they needed to pay. Now, let me be real.
Guys, we all know how much women love paying to get into the clubs, right? Am I right?
If you ever been to Miami, I have once. If you've ever been to Miami, you know it's not a real place. Miami is full of entertainment. Miami is a place for recreation. Miami is a place for lavishness and luxury, right? Nothing about being thick represents luxury. Nothing about being fat, obese represents luxury. Again, I am not denigrating anybody, but what I am saying is when the young lady who was holding the camera showed the rest of what she looked like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm like, well, that explains why she can't get into the club. Yes, in Miami, it is very common practice for them to discriminate on you based on your size. Now, when she added the piece about her being too dark, I had to push back on that because I don't believe that her homegirl didn't get into the club because she was too dark. She didn't get into the club because both of you guys were too thick. Let's just be honest here. It wasn't because of the darkness or her skin complexion, because when you go to the Club Miami, at least when I did, I seen black women, I seen Asian women, I seen Latino women, I seen women of every nationality, flavor, color, creed that you can think of. But the commonality was that they were all model type. They were all beautiful. They were all extremely thin and just gorgeous looking. It's part of the aesthetic of luxury. It's part of the aesthetic that this is exclusive. You have to be cut of a certain cloth. You need to be of a certain ilk to come into this establishment. And what these young ladies failed to realize is that the establishment that you were trying to go into supports the aesthetic of wanting a certain kind of woman in the club because they're trying to attract a certain type of man into the club. Now, let's be real. If you want to get ballers and shot callers and people who will come in there and really spend that bread into your nightclub, you need to have something to entice them. Nothing entices men to spend more money than beautiful women. But again, that is not to denigrate these young ladies. I'm quite sure they are beautiful in their own right. But you got to understand, it's fine, and then it's Miami fine. And if you're not Miami fine, then you may want to have that conversation with yourself and be real, because you're setting yourself up for a pathway of destruction, heartbreak, and delusion. But that's just my opinion. I'd love to know yours. Please drop a like.
Hey, shout out to bro, man. He kept it a bean and thoroughly explained how club culture works in Miami, Florida, and the real reason they did not get into there. He didn't say shit about colorism or fat shaming or any of that crap. It's like, yo, certain clubs are for certain people. They want to attract a certain type of they want certain type of women in there to get certain type of men in there so those men can spend bread in that club, which keeps them in business. It's all business. It was never personal. But in the times we live in right now, where everything's based on feelings and all this other crap, so I don't expect those ladies to really understand. They're gonna cry. Now, they didn't say anything about race or anything. Not necessarily, they didn't cry like, "Oh, they didn't let us in because I'm black." Nah, it's more because you're too big. You're just too damn big. Like, y'all should not be allowed to go to just any club. I'm sure there are clubs somewhere in Miami that's more big girl friendly. They would have loved to have y'all in there, and y'all had a good time, get drunk, and all types of crap. You know what I'm saying? But you know how people are nowadays, or these modern women, to be more specific. But let's get to this next video.
No, I'm probably a day late to the party, but to them girls that didn't get into that club in Miami because they was too dark and too thick, honestly, the club did y'all a fucking favor, because I wish more clubs would be honest and say, you know what, these ain't even your people in here. Don't waste your money. Because there's nothing more disappointing than going inside a club and paying money to get inside.
And that is not your shit. You wasted your time and your money. A win is a win, babies, because y'all was bad. Fuck them folks.
So by now it is floating around. People are seeing this video where this group of girls went down to Miami and tried to get into a specific nightclub and was denied entry. Now, I will say this. Based on some of the stuff that was said to them, yeah, that was shaming them. But I will say this. We've all know this. I've lived in Miami. I'm telling you right now that, yeah, you will not be able to get into certain establishments if you don't have that look. If you are a size 6 and below, and it depends on how you wear the 6, you're good. Faces tee, outfit, very revealing. You know what I'm saying? You'll get in, and you might even get in for free. But you might be a 10 in your city. You might be a 10 in your city, but in Miami, you'll end up being like a 5. Miami is super, super vain. Like, they do not play. For the guys, money. I remember when it used to be like, oh, you can't come in here if you are wearing a baseball cap, if you're wearing sneakers. They probably changed it now, but who knows? There are probably some establishments that are still like, hey.
Yeah, it's a good thing that a lot of clubs still have dress codes because that keeps a certain demographic of people out that's more likely to probably cause trouble. Because if you're willing to dress up and wear more nicer, expensive clothes and things like that, like you're not going to want to mess that up getting into a tussle or brawl with somebody. Let's just keep it a bean.
If you are not him, you didn't pull up in the latest, you know what I'm saying, McLaren or whatever, you're not getting in there. Like, don't try to make it about race, because it's not about race. It's about classism. It's about your look is currency in Miami. The way you look, the way your body looks, your face, you won't get in. So y'all didn't get in, not because y'all are not beautiful women. Y'all are beautiful women. It has nothing to do with that. But that establishment, the men go into that establishment, they want a certain look of female, and y'all just didn't have that look. So don't make it about race. Like, everybody knows how Miami club scene is. Y'all probably could have went in Fort Lauderdale, Broward. Y'all need to go where the hood establishments are. They don't care. They just want to turn up, have a good time. That's what y'all were looking for. But South Beach, no, honey. Why?
Yeah, she makes a very valid point here. I don't think she said, look, she didn't say anything wrong here. I mean, she's basically saying the same, pretty similar to what the guy earlier just said. Listen, if you don't have a certain look, if you don't have a certain aesthetic, if you don't have that, what that club is looking for, they have every right to deny you access to that club. They did nothing wrong at all. They were wrong for having the audacity to think that they have every right to go into that club when in actuality, they do not.
If this story is true, it's a goddamn shame, but I'm not surprised because, again, a lot of dark-skinned people are discriminated against very heavily. We do have a lot of colorism in America. So, with that being said, I mean, this ain't nothing new. But telling somebody
Yeah, there goes that stupid colorism argument.
that they too thick and too dark to get in the club is just diabolical. But this is not the first time a story like this has surfaced, and it really is a dang shame because you can be all shades of black are beautiful. So I don't know why you would even, as a club, deny a woman who is thick,
She's fat, bro. Stop it.
black, beautiful, whatever, in the club. I mean, ain't that who y'all cater to? Ain't that who clubs supposed to be catering to? The women? You know what I'm saying? Like, so why would you deny somebody or a woman entrance? Like, this is stupid. But again, it sucks that she had to experience this. But hey, like I said, it's a lot of colorism out here. Y'all have a good one.
If this sumbitch on the club, it would be a total failure with the way he's thinking. Like, if I'm being honest with you, if this dude owned a club, It would absolutely fail without a shout of a doubt. With the way he's thinking, it's like, dude, all nah. Certain women you should not let in the club. Because women like her, who looks like she be doing seafood boil mukbangs, would embarrass a club that has like a lot of ballers and shot calls coming in, bro. Like you clearly don't understand how this works. I don't even go nightclub and I understand how this works because I mean I only did that in like my early 20s, and even then, it just wasn't for me. If I don't care if it was a low level establishment or high end, like the clubbing thing, it wasn't for me. It's like it was really overhyped. When I you know when I was underage and not able to club yet, the whole idea of going to the club and turning up was just so hyped up to me. It's like, yeah, I can't wait to do this, and then I get to experience it for myself. I was like, nah, I'm not liking this at all.
To attract the highest of the high because we become so liberal in the United States of America that we can't be honest with ourselves and we have to then accept everybody instead of being honest about what it is that we want, who it is that we like, and whether or not we want to actually be around them. And if you are in the club area, this is not a job. This is not your office. This is not your home. This is not your neighborhood. This ain't your HOA board. This is a club. And me personally, I don't even go to clubs. Why? Because it's beyond me. I've outgrown it. I've grown into a different space to where the environments that I congregate around is largely based off of like people that are in my same sphere already. My network is, oh, we all going in a certain direction. I just had a rooftop party literally 2 days ago in DC, and it was lit. And it was all based off of vibes. But when you're talking about Miami, when you're talking about going down to South Beach, when you're talking about South Florida, you're talking about the who's who. And in order for them to get people to spend a certain amount of money, they don't want to go into a club and see a certain type of environment. And I don't think it has anything to do with their color. I think it has more to do with their size, if we just gonna be honest. I think it has everything to do with size. Her homegirl right there is not a small puppy. She didn't get in. And I think that if you care for yourself a little bit differently, you have to probably start to pick up the fork and put down the knives and the spoons. Then you will probably get a different type of vibe. You got to be a certain weight. You got to be a certain
Stop eating them seafood boils at Red Lobster.
way if you're a woman. If you a guy, they discriminate against us too, right? Because you got to have a certain amount of money. We can't go in and say, well, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't have a certain amount of money, we should still be able to get in. No, it's discriminatory based off of, and I hate to say that word, but it's a valid word. It's discriminatory based off of whether or not you got whatever it is in order to impress or create a certain vibe, and that's the way that they determine who they want to be in there because they're trying to create a certain environment. And that's just the way that it is. I don't know why everybody is confused about this. This is not rocket science. Like our eyes don't work, right?
I saw this girl post on TikTok about how she got denied free entry from a club in Miami based off of a few factors.
Yeah, I think Anton makes a very great point here, and he understands this because like certain clubs want certain vibes, want certain this, that, and the third. Look, at the end of the day, y'all, they have every right to do this. Those ladies wasted their time doing this. Now they're going viral on the internet, right? And even I'm talking about this because they've just decided to make complete asses of themselves, crying, "Oh, we didn't get in because I'm too thick and I'm too dark." Man, stop it. Just stop it. Listen, if a club doesn't want to let big girls in, they don't have to do it. They don't have to do it. Nothing wrong with that. You can't sue them for it. Just go to just there's an like I said earlier in the video, there's an establishment they could have went to in Miami where they could have had a good time, turned up, told stories, posted on the ground, blah 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 blah, and then none of that would have been necessary. But nah, they wanted to get in that establishment where they're denied entry because they want something they cannot have, and I think that's what a lot of people nowadays suffer from. They want too much. They want too many things they know for a fact that they'll never be able to attain, and it needs to stop. With that being said, I'm gonna end the video right there. If you made it all the way to the end of this, thank you for one, and shout out to you for watching the whole video. Also, don't forget to hit the link in my description to my link tree so you can follow me on other social media platforms as well as support me directly on this channel. And until next time, y'all,